Big shooters, all troopers, grand rising, good people. We own it. I said, Dignan. What we got for today? What do y'all want to talk about today? What do y'all want to talk about today? Y'all tell me. We got a bunch of things to discuss, but if there's anything that's standing out to you all, I'm open to discussing that as well. Appreciate y'all tapping in. As you are joining, please make sure that you like. All right, like it a couple times. Like it a couple times. Then go on your other tablet or your other device. Go on there and like on there. We want to get as many different people in the building as possible. People in here tapping in bright and early. Shout out to Unc. Good morning. Let me turn this down. Good morning, Grand Rising, everyone. Off to another stunning show this morning. Please remember to like and subscribe. Unc is telling y'all, like and subscribe. How can you not listen to Unc? Thank you for once again tuning in. We are taking this voice worldwide, this convo worldwide. This combo worldwide. We have definitely taken it worldwide for sure, and it is appreciated. You all are appreciated. One love. All right. Shout out to Unc in the building. Shout out to Big Bro Steve. Morning to all. A great day is on the way. That is a fact. That is a fact. Not debatable. Good morning, my people. Yes, sir. Motown Mojo is in the building. Got my tea ready for the show. Critical Thinking already got his running. He hit me early. This was so quick story yesterday after the show. After the show, my shoulder locked up on me. I got to actually call my big bro Pete. My shoulder locked up on me. I think I was going a little bit too hard with the pull-ups that we were doing. We were doing hangs and pull-ups. Maya had me in the gym doing hangs. You hang for 45 seconds, or was it 30? 45 seconds, and then do 10 or 12 pull-ups. I think it was 10. And yesterday after the show, I'm telling you, I could barely move my arm. Like, it was just in so much pain. I don't know what happened. I think it's because I slept on it the day before. But is that an excuse? No excuses. But that's why I told y'all I took yesterday off with the push-ups and everything. But I still could have done the other stuff. So no excuses. No excuses. Let Mama Lay is in the building. Hold on. Let's simplify. I like that. Mama Lay. Shout out to Mama Lay in the building. What we got? Chaotic Kane. Let me make sure that sometimes I got to zoom in. I can't really see it. Chaotic K9 JB. Shout out to Chaotic K9 JB. You already know we're finna have a great show. Once again, like, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn your notifications on if you haven't already. Grand Rising, good morning, everyone. Please, Unc is letting y'all know again, stop playing. Like and subscribe. All right, and thanks for inviting a friend. Thanks in advance. So we are definitely getting to it. Resisting digital ID implementation. Ooh. This is a big one. This is a big one. So for a lot of people, they may not be aware. This is with the updated IDs, right? When you go to the airport, you either have to use your old passport or have an updated ID. And what's funny is because I think I got the update when I changed over my address from Jersey to Florida. And I was sitting, I don't even know if it crossed my mind to the point where I was thinking like, hey, maybe I shouldn't get this new ID, or I'm not sure if all the IDs are made the new way, or maybe you're talking about something a little bit different, big bro. But I know a bunch of people have resisted getting this new ID, and I don't know, maybe it's a Palantir thing with a Peter Thiel. We watched the video on Peter Thiel, but it seems like we are moving in the direction of them being able to just identify us, with, I guess, the digital IDs. What is all this about? What is all this about? You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of my uncle. My uncle used to be scared to get Easy Pass because he's like, yo, they're going to track me. And I'm like, damn, now we're over here just digital ID. Everything's digital. That's why it's kind of amazing how people can even think that they're going to get away with crimes these days. So if you're getting away with a crime, if I see people getting away with a crime, like a Charlie Kirk situation where things just aren't lining up, it makes me question. They got all this technology. You can when I see something happening in the South Bronx, they got 20 different camera angles and stuff outside the barber shop and all this type of stuff. And then you're on a college campus with all these kids with their cell phones. And apparently, allegedly, they're telling people that they were trying to get people to delete their footage of the Charlie Kirk death or assassination. People have said that. People are saying that. Who's people, right? But I heard. I saw a couple different articles or something on it. But yeah, definitely. Sam, what we got right here? Sam the Man. Shout out to you, Sam the Man. Chaotic came, wrote 4 shoulder surgeries and 3 back surgeries. Best thing that ever happened to me was yoga. It took a minute to get in there as a guy, but incredible results. You know what's so funny? I had a knee issue. When I broke my ankle, my other knee, I guess it was overcompensating for whatever. Y'all know how it goes. And nothing helped until I started doing yoga. Nothing helped. The stretching and yeah. All right. I need to tap in. All right. So what I gotta go to the DMV and tell them like, nah, give me my real ID back. They probably already got me in the system, but I need to look into that, and I'll look into it a little bit more so we can have more of a conversation on it. But the real ID, yoga, all right, y'all giving me a few different things, and we only 13 minutes in, so I appreciate y'all. All right, so what are we talking about today? So first, this is what I'll start with. I'll show you guys this post. But how people are very comfortable. And are you guys familiar with Josh Hammer? So obviously with Tucker Carlson interviewing Nick Fuentes, there's still a big buzz going around about that. And now now the conversations around Tucker shouldn't have ever, gave Nick a platform, all these type of conversations. This guy, Josh Hammer, who I don't know if y'all remember, but he was the guy that got destroyed in the debate by Dave Smith at one of Charlie Kirk's, I think it may have been the last one, if not one of the last ones, where this is actually the event where Tucker Carlson was at Turning Point USA, and he gave that speech where a lot of the donors apparently were upset. And this guy, Josh Hammer, let me pull him up on the screen for you guys to see. He just seems like a weasel, I'll be honest. He just seems like just a slimy weasel type of guy. Just seems real slimy. So he's the guy, obviously not Tucker, but the guy above Tucker in the pick. Josh Hammer, a bunch of others have called out Tucker as if he's not supposed to give Nick Fuentes a platform and that Charlie Kirk is rolling over in his grave. This is what Josh Hammer said. As if Tucker Carlson ever needed Charlie Kirk's permission to bring somebody on his show. This is how a lot of these people act this is gang mentality. I want to be very clear on this. This is gang mentality. Whatever team Josh Hammer's on, he thinks that they can just bully people. This is the same type of gang mentality that I pointed out yesterday when we were looking at the messages that Denise D'Souza put out there regarding how Charlie Kirk messaged him when Denise decided to debate Nick Fuentes. I don't think that I need to bring those up again, but he was saying we've been acting like they've been going to war with him for 6 years. Maybe they were. The Guerrilla Wars, but the point is that why do y'all think that y'all can just bully people into changing their mind about something, or if they don't align with exactly what you feel they need to align with, you could destroy them? So I want y'all to take a closer look at this right here as I zoom in. Hold on, let me move over here. Let me zoom in on this last paragraph. I'm not sure if y'all can I zoom in? So let's look at the last two. So this is what Josh Hammer wrote. They hope to burn down MAGA and build a neo-pagan, anti-Western, anti-biblical movement in its stead. The fox is now comfortably ensconced in the henhouse. And unless the fox is neutralized, the victim could be the entire extant GOP coalition itself. And unless the fox is neutralized. So let's be very clear. He's talking about Tucker Carlson. He's talking about Tucker Carlson. Carlson, Fuentes, Candace Owens, and their entire disreputable ilk are incapable of acknowledging that an American, chill with all the big words, bro. Chill with all the big words, you slimy weasel. Chill with all the big words. Their entire disreputable ilk are incapable of acknowledging that an American might simply support the Jewish people because he sees in the Jews the origins of monotheism and thus all Western morality. They refuse to concede that American might support close-knit U.S.-Israel relations, not due to moral or financial blackmail, but due to an earnest assessment that the alliance furthers American interest, or because AIPAC is giving people hundreds of thousands of dollars. That would probably factor into it as well. They can't bring themselves to admit such basic points because to do so would undermine the assertion that has become most foundational to their fetid, hold on, I gotta look it up. I gotta look up what fetid means, hold on. Y'all don't do this? Fetid, I gotta make sure that I understand. So fetid, smelling extremely unpleasant. All right. So has become most foundational to their fetid worldview. The Jews are responsible for all of America's ills, and America must therefore abandon them. And in order for this to happen, it is not the statistically insignificant Jews. It is not that the statistically insignificant Jews must necessarily come to loathe themselves, but that those statistically very significant Christians must come to loathe the Jews. Here comes the victim. Here comes all the victimhood stuff, right? If this looks like a war on MAGA and the modern American right, that's because that is exactly what it is. I just don't understand. I just don't understand how people can be so arrogant that they feel that they who had absolutely no part in creating MAGA. Josh Hammer had no part in creating MAGA. Him and Ben Shapiro specifically was a never Trumper. But now these people, because Trump has been bullied by Israel, bullied by Netanyahu, and because he's taken so much money by these pro-Zionist, pro-Israel, or Zionist, pro-Israel Jewish people, which obviously we talk about it all the time. There's not one person on earth that gives out money without expecting something in return. Now, if you're talking about a charitable cause, yeah, right. Maybe you're the 1% that does that. But you're still looking for something in return, in my opinion, especially when it comes to politics. Let's be clear. That's what lobbying is. That's what lobbying is. You give out money to get somebody to do something that you want them to do, period. So when you have these people like a Ben Shapiro or a Josh Hammer acting as if like Bibi Netanyahu was acting, like he could get on American news outlets and talk about, well, yeah, that's not MAGA. If you're not pro-Israel, then, how can you be MAGA? You're not MAGA. As if these people are this is the entitlement. And we're getting ready to watch a video from Patrick Bet-David in which he calls out the only child syndrome of Israel, or he questions it. It is very hard. And I always have to remind myself that, like the Democrats and like the Republicans, a lot of the people that we do hear from when it comes to Zionists, when it comes to pro-Israel Jewish people, a lot of these voices are going to be the more radical voices. A lot of these voices are going to be the more radical voices. However, that is why I always say it's important for people who may not be as radical to use your voice, to say certain things. A Ben Shapiro, who a lot of people support and who's very popular amongst Zionists especially, but I would say among the Jewish population, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but when you have these people that are popular and that are willing to say certain things that you may not be willing to say, but are willing to stand on certain things, then like it or not, human nature, we have to understand that they're going to make you look bad. They're going to make you look a certain type of way. They're going to make you look as if you really believe that you're a chosen person and that you think that certain rules that apply to all of humanity don't apply to you. We're going to look at you as if you feel like you're so privileged, so arrogant, to where you think that Americans should be forced to support Israel in committing a genocide on Palestinian people. To where you think that you can be an American, hold on, let me give a little context to the situation. Hold on one second. Let me give a little context to what I'm referring to and to who I'm referring to. Let me share this tab instead. You guys see that this is who Josh Hammer is. This is Josh Hammer. Shout out to Bubbles. I saw that. Appreciate you. My skincare routine with just water. Ask Maya, just water. All right, let me share these with y'all. All right, so Josh Hammer wrote, Jew hatred is inherent in the European DNA. This is how these people, yes, I said these people, I'm talking about people like Josh Hammer, arrogant beyond measure. This is how they think. Jew hatred is inherent in the European DNA. The nerve of you to say that Jew hatred is inherent in the European DNA, you're referring to Americans, I assume, right? I have to make that assumption. America, as Nick Fuentes points out over and over, is a white European country, right? So Josh Hammer has the nerve to say that Jew hatred is inherent in the European DNA when America is the only reason why Israel even exists. The only reason why you're allowed to get away with doing the things amongst your region, violating all those countries, a lot of those countries, is because of Big Bro, your big homie. Now you're talking about your big homie that allows you to get away with doing any and everything in that region. The only reason why you are even able to exist. Because you wouldn't, let's be very clear, without American support, you wouldn't exist. Israel would not be able to protect itself, period. And be careful, because if you are saying that you would be able to exist without American help, then why do you need our help? Why are we giving y'all money? When you have don't you have free healthcare in your country? We don't have that. We're in all this debt. So why are we giving you money if you don't need it? Why are we giving you all this protection if you don't need it? But you have the nerve to say that Jew hatred is inherent in the European DNA. I'm offended. I'm offended. I'm over here looking at white Americans like, y'all gonna let him talk to y'all like that? All right, so then he wrote, Europe will never change. Jew hatred is inherent in its collective DNA. And then he wrote, I am Jewish proudly. I advocate every single day of my life for the Jewish people and for the Jewish state of Israel. Cool. But as long as we know where you stand. So therefore, when you talk about America and the things that America should be doing, we should understand that you're always going to approach it from a Jewish first perspective, not an American first perspective. And that is what people like Tucker, Nick Fuentes, Dave Smith, Candace Owens, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey, and many others are calling out. Let's go back to the other article. We'll finish up there real quick. They hope to burn down MAGA and build a neo-pagan, anti-Western, anti-biblical movement in its stead. Who are you to talk about anti-biblical? You're currently supporting a genocide in Palestine. I'm sorry, wait, did the genocide stop? I know Bibi Netanyahu, and I know Bibi Netanyahu just was, they just killed somebody. And it was actually, I wish I could find I wasn't even thinking to show this clip, but I'm not sure if y'all saw Marco Rubio being asked about whether or not Israel violated the ceasefire. Hold on. Trump, Israel violates ceasefire. Hold on. We freestyling a little bit today. Here it is right here. So listen to this right here. Listen to this right here.
Sir, for you or Secretary Rubio, over the weekend, Israel assassinated a military official of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad movement. Does that violate the ceasefire law between Israel and Hamas, or are they treated as a separate group?
You're talking about the strike against the Palestinian Jihad individual?
Yes.
Yeah, look, Israel didn't surrender its right to self-defense. Obviously, the ceasefire is based on obligations on both sides. By the way, we'd also like to see Hamas speed up the return of hostage bodies. We still have 13 hostages, 2 Americans included. But we don't view that as a violation of the ceasefire. They have a right if there's an imminent threat to Israel, and all the mediators agree with that.
So they killed somebody because he was about to do something to them. Based on Israel and Bibi Netanyahu's track record, I say that that's very questionable. All right, real quick, I want to cut. So Bo Kane wrote, "I have European DNA. He might be onto something." Yeah. All right. So I'm assuming that this is a joke. All right. But even if it's not, let's be clear. It's not Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens that are making people, let's say, have ill feelings towards, and I think it's more towards Israel, more towards Zionism, and then those feelings spill out towards Jewish people overall for a lot of different reasons. It's almost like, you know, how people look at cops because of a few bad cops or because of the overall culture of policing, right? So the thing that I disagree with is the fact that he says it's inherent. No, it's not inherent, Josh Hammer. It's actually something that you are creating, something that we grow up in America, to be totally honest, we grow up in America mostly being taught and indoctrinated with pro-Israel views. That's what we're brought up on. We get called radicalized when we wake up and realize, like, oh, actually, if I was Palestinian, I would think it's pretty fucked up that somebody could just come in and take my land and say that God promised it to me 3,000 years ago in the Bible. So I got to hand over my keys, or they'll just change the locks, kick me out of my spot. I don't have the right to return. They didn't compensate me for the land and house that I took. Yeah, I can see that being a pretty messed up situation. I think all of us on this show would be sitting here pretty pissed off if somebody just came in and took our stuff. I don't think that that's inherent. I don't think that it's inherent. I think that it's learned behavior. All right, let's keep moving. All right, so I think y'all got the gist of that. Let me pull it up again real quick. The Fox is now comfortably ensconced in the hen house, and unless the Fox is neutralized, the victim could be the entire extant GOP coalition itself. Like, I sit back and wonder, like, how a guy like Josh Hammer is as relevant as he is. I sit back and just question how Josh Hammer is as relevant as he is, and it just got to be. It's like I lay in bed sometimes at night, like, yo, how is Josh Hammer popping? And I'm sitting here just trying to figure it out. Like, oh man. All right. Yeah. All right. It is what it is. It is what it is. We're going to move on to that next conversation that I was talking about with Patrick Bet-David, because it aligns with exactly what we're talking about right now. And I think it's a great conversation with him and Glenn Greenwald, somebody who I like. I like Glenn Greenwald. I feel like he gives very good takes. I like watching him. So let's take a look at this conversation. You guys let me know exactly what you're thinking. Hold on. So what you're saying, hold on. Let me catch up with some of these comments. So Unc wrote, so what you're saying is it's wrong for people that come from North to Bloomfield to steal cars. So what you're saying is it's wrong if you're from Jersey, then you'll understand. He is talking to us. He is talking to other Jews and how the two religions aren't the same. Unc is crazy. If any Christian made such an egregious statement against Ben Shapiro or any prominent Jew, he'd be canceled. You're absolutely right. Matter of fact, I don't know if y'all remember. See, now y'all, hey, I asked y'all what y'all wanted to talk about. So now I have to bring up this. Hold on. Where's that article? Hold on. There was a clip. Hold on. There was a clip. I believe I have it. If I can't find it, give me a second. The reason why I want to play it is because what you just described is exactly what happened with Nick Fuentes. Exactly what happened with Nick Fuentes. I'm not sure that I have the video handy, so maybe I'll just describe it. But when Nick Fuentes, and we may have even spoke about this before, where Nick Fuentes accused Ben Shapiro, matter of fact, I'm sure I could just Google it and find it, of dual loyalty, right? Nick Fuentes accuses Ben Shapiro of dual loyalty. Actually, let's see if we can find it here. Will this work? Hold on. I think I got it. All right. I don't know if this video is it, but we're going to take a look at it. And hopefully this is a video that works to illustrate the point. Is it shared with you guys? All right, good.
To Ben Shapiro. You know, I've never seen anything on the Daily Wire that's actually critical of Israel. And he quote tweets me and says, to accuse a Jew of dual loyalty is the surest sign of anti-Semitism.
So you're an 18-year-old college freshman, you're clearly talented, and you ask not crazy questions. And rather than explain it, they just call you an anti-Semite. That seems like the least effective thing you could do. Why do you think they did that?
Looking back, you could say they made a terrible mistake because look at sort of what they provoked or what they catalyzed. But at that time, you got to consider, I'm 18 with no following. So for them, it was very easy that if they detected that a promising young guy was going to become anti-Israel in the conservative movement, they could crush that person. So they sort of were alerted, oh, there's a precocious young guy that isn't on board with Israel. We'll keep an eye on him. And if he gets too vocal or popular, we'll cut him down, we'll crush him.
Oh, we'll neutralize him. That must be what Josh Hammer was talking about when he said neutralize. But that's the point. Even if you just say like, hey, you know, the Daily Wire has never been critical of Israel. And then Ben Shapiro responds to an 18-year-old, to accuse a Jew of dual loyalty is the surest sign of an anti-Semite. It's like, what? So if I just say like, yo, it seems like y'all are more moving in the interest of Israel rather than America, I'm an anti-Semite, I'm anti-Semitic. It's like the little, you know what? Let's just get to the video of Patrick Bet-David, because this really is only child syndrome. If y'all ever grew up around kids with only, not saying only, Maya's gonna hear that and think that I'm talking about her. Well, she's not an only child, but if certain kids that grew up with this only child syndrome, I'm sure you all can understand what I mean when I'm saying that and what Patrick Bet-David is meaning when he's saying it. But let's just get to the video.
In Iran, right. And I was born on Mehr B'Shishom, October 1878. Mm-hmm. Another kid was born a month after me. Uh-huh. We grew up like this. That kid, good family. Both parents are doctors. They did very well. One is a doctor. The mother was an accountant. Brilliant, very good families. And as we were coming up, I knew I wasn't going to get anything from my parents. They didn't have money. They just brought me to America. My dad was a, worker, 99-cent store in Inglewood, California. My mother she's never worked for as long as I've known her, homemaker. We came here.
Why did you come, though? Like, what was the reason?
Khomeini died. 6 weeks later, we escaped. June 3rd, 89, when he died, we escaped 6 weeks later.
But I'm saying, why did you, if you weren't, like kind of one Christian of those oligarchical families under the Shah, a Christian family?
We're a Christian family.
Right.
My mom didn't feel safe. I was about to turn 12. She didn't want me to serve the military in Iran, and she said, we got to leave. My dad agreed. We went to Germany, refugee camp, Erlangen, in Nuremberg, 18 months, and we came here November 28th, 1990. But here's where I'm going. That kid grew up. The parents built a good business. The kid knew the parents had to give the business eventually to the kid. And the kid's like, listen, you guys better take care of my business because it's mine. Mm-hmm. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was almost like a entitled kid because they only had one kid.
Right.
Do you know that's the reason why I don't believe you should ever have anything less than 3 kids? I think you should have 3 kids because if it's only one, guess how they feel? They own you. And I do think there's an element of Israel that is the only child in the Middle East. U.S. made that mistake by having the only child in the Middle East. I don't know if this is making sense, the point I'm making.
No, I understand the point.
The point I'm trying to say is like, you negotiated this, America. You put yourself in this situation. And I think what Trump is trying to do, which maybe none of these other guys previous to him have done, correct me if I'm wrong, this is your world, is when you have an only child, you don't have a choice. You kind of got to figure it out, or else go raise 2 other kids that match your values and principles and pin them against each other. Meaning, if you see what Trump is doing with Canada, he pushes Mexico, or he pushes China, he pushes Russia, he puts sanctions on Russia. You better not do the oil deal. The biggest oil companies in China that buy oil, they're like, we're suspending it because of sanctions. And then he's able to pin them against each other, but he's trying to find somebody else to pin against Israel, to hold Israel accountable. And I think he's doing that in the way he did with Qatar, when he's like, why'd you shoot up that place? You better come out and apologize. I think that phone call was made. Do you think that phone call was made? When he said, you better apologize to Qatar?
Oh, for sure. No, he was enraged.
Hey, he was enraged. But the part where I'm going to...
Very quickly, just want to interject. Patrick Bet-David says something interesting. Well, I don't know if it's interesting, but it's interesting. Never have anything less than 3. What do we talk about with the Democrats and Republicans? You need that third party. It serves as a checks and balance system, right? With us and our relationship to Israel, Patrick Bet-David is spot on. This is definitely an only child syndrome where, let's not be mistaken, there's clearly certain things that the U.S. benefits from a relationship with Israel. Now, I may not know what they are. We may not know what they are on this show, but I think I would be being naive if I wasn't sitting here thinking like there's some sort of benefit. There's no way that America and Trump, like particularly, allows himself to get bullied by a country that is the size of New Jersey in a region where they need us to survive just because. Like, there's no way that they just do that just because. There are benefits that we're probably not even aware of. Whoever the powers that be, the people who are controlling Trump and moving the chess pieces on the board and controlling the puppet strings, for whatever reason, it's very clear that Israel is very important to them. Now, this could be on another level that we're not even thinking about, and how they're strategically planning and controlling how the world's going to take place. You know, what's going to happen next in the world? Because when you think about the type of power that the people that have donated to Trump's campaign, the people that we very rarely hear their names, but the ones that are giving all this money and the ones that we may not even know are behind, like the BlackRocks and all these companies that control everything, that are buying up all the farmland, buying up all the homes. It's clear that at that level, they think that they can actually manipulate the world. And in a lot of ways, when you have a certain type of power, in my opinion, that becomes intoxicating. It's like when you realize that, oh, all I have to do is give money to this group and give money to this group. I can pin them against each other and get whatever it is that I want. Like, I could control this like a movie. Oh, I did it on this level. Now I want to do it on this level. Wait, now I want to do it on this level. It becomes intoxicating. So the people, I'm talking about the people that we're not even aware of. It is clear to me now, and I used to hear people saying this before, but I never actually believed it. It is clear to me now, watching Donald Trump as the president, getting bullied by Bibi Netanyahu in Israel, doing things that are the opposite of the things that he campaigned on. The Epstein files not being released. JFK seems to be a little bit iffy on releasing everything around that. All of these different things that are happening, even with the no new wars, the peace deals, the stuff that he was supposed to be putting in play. You got Bibi Netanyahu, the nerve of you. We're talking about him calling Qatar and being forced to call Qatar. Like, bro, you just bombed an ally of ours without telling us, and we're the people that are holding you up and the only reason why you can survive, and you go ahead and bomb Qatar without letting us know if that really happened? I don't know. Who knows? Trump could have been like, all right, well, this is the play. You go ahead and do what you need to do, but then, hey, you're going to have to come to America and apologize. I don't know. But I actually do think that Trump is not the politician that a lot of these other, let's say like a Barack Obama or a Joe Biden or a Bill Clinton could have just been able to. I think Barack Obama could make us believe anything. But Donald Trump, he seems to wear his emotions more on his sleeve. So when I see him, it seems to be more genuine. It seems to be very frustrated. And he seems to be so prideful that it would be very hard for me to just think that he would allow himself to look like such a sucker amongst the American people. So clearly there's some powerful people that want Israel, that are prioritizing Israel over America. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Is I think they handed him, you have one child in the Middle East, go make it work. And there's a community of people saying, screw Israel, screw this, screw that. You can't, it's the only child. Wait till you build a couple other children, then let them compete against each other.
I totally get that theory. It's coherent and it makes sense. And I think there's some truth to it as well, except after the 1967 war and then the 1973 Yom Kippur War, Nixon.
Hold up. Time out. This is dope. I'm not gonna do too much on this, but Halus. Hey, Mr. OG CEO, I understand your endeavors most likely have you busy all the time, but do you do coaching and mentor sessions? I would pay for your insights. That's dope just to hear. I'll be totally honest. And we actually do. But that's just dope and appreciated. It very much is. This is actually what you could do is I'm gonna leave my email. Go ahead and shoot me an email, dak@og.com, and we'll be able to figure out if there's something that I can help you with. Yeah, but definitely appreciate that. Appreciate the support. This is just dope. When y'all and y'all give support in so many different ways. I'm telling y'all, it's greatly appreciated in every way. Whether it's tapping into the show, whether it's sending, $1, whether it's whatever it is, it's just greatly appreciated. Trust me. But yeah, hit me up, dak@og.com, and we'll be able to figure something out for you. And real quick, while I'm on that, let me get to Big Bro Steve. There is no way that every prominent politician and party has unilaterally been supporting Israel for the past 75 years for just the reasons we are being told. That's a fact. That's what I'm saying. It's like, we're not that stupid and they're not that stupid. There's something there. There's something there. And I did see critical thinking, right, that I doubt we didn't know. That's what it's like. All of this stuff is just, it's like we're watching a movie. When you take a step back and you look at this like, oh, this is just a TV show. Oh, it makes sense. This is very predictable. Matter of fact, when we watch a lot of these TV shows, whether there's been a lot of these, whether it's Scandal, I feel like it started with the Scandals, House of Cards, all these type of shows. When you're watching it, we're more curious watching those shows and trying to figure out what's going to happen next and why this happened than we look at politics happening in the real world, I guess, with air quotes. We're just more curious because a part of us really actually still believes that, maybe this isn't staged, maybe this isn't, maybe these people, at least I had these thoughts in my mind, but then I realized all these people are just playing us. Like, they're all pawns on the chessboard. Everyone has a boss that they answer to. Everyone is being led one way or another. If you're on that type of level, if you're in politics. So I'm right there with y'all on that. What did Unc write? Don't even start talking about TV shows, because right now, if ABC had freedom, I think they'd have award-winning shows just showing this president's doing. Oh, okay. I got to look into that. I definitely got to look into that. But yeah, it's drama that writes itself. I agree.
Sin was the first to change these policies. He became very close to the Arab world, or closer. And then changed the 6-7 war. And then I think there's some truth to it as well, except after the 1967 war and then the 1973 Yom Kippur War, Nixon was the first to change these policies. He became very close to the Arab world, or closer. And then, obviously, we have had an extremely close relationship with the Saudis for decades. Even after 9/11, when they were by far the country most involved, or certainly with the greatest proximity to the hijackers, George Bush helped the Saudis who were in the country get out. He continued to have very close, the Bush family has been very close to the Saudis for a long time. They're oil people. They have a close relationship. But one of the things that we did is, and I think this is when you count how much we do for Israel, this often doesn't get counted, is we don't just give huge amounts of money to Israel. We also prop up a regime in Egypt that, goes back to Anwar Sadat and then Mubarak and now Sisi. And we prop up the Jordanian royal family as well to keep not just stability in those countries, but also to keep them at bay and not hostile toward Israel. We do have other allies in the region. And I think one of the things Trump is wanting to do, and I think you're right about this, is he wants to expand the scope of American alliances in the region, but he also wants to foster normalization with Israel.
But I think that's fine. So the way I process it is with business. And I'll explain it to you from my perspective. Again, push back when I'm given this perspective. I'm very comfortable with it. Is when at the beginning I had an insurance carrier. I'm running an insurance company. I only had one insurance carrier. I didn't have 4. I didn't have 5. I only had one. And the one that I had was AIG, American General.
Uh-huh.
And I'm coming up. I'm a newer company. They tell me what they want to do. I can't push back.
You have no leverage.
I don't have any other carriers. So then I go get a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh. Finally, it normalizes where the negotiation is even. But guess what? I never wanted to lose them because they've been a decent ally to me, and we both needed each other when we got started. I think that's the right way of diplomacy and what he's doing. I think for him to sit there and say, because if I sit there and I think about, you have the best intel, I want access to that intel. Nobody else does a good enough of a job as intel as you in the Middle East. I think that's very valuable to me. How can I use that intel? Now, don't get me wrong. When the argument comes back around and it's, your number one is Epstein. You know what my number one is? What do you think my number one is?
What is your number one?
What do you think my number one is? I want you to take a wild guess.
I'm at a loss.
Bro, just tell me what your number one is.
Oh, and so we're in agreement. I thought that.
No,
yeah,
Epstein's my number one.
All right, so we hit bingo on that.
I do believe they've been using blackmail to get information, and that info was being sent to Israel. I do believe all of that stuff happened.
But this is what I'm saying. It's like, if you take this idealistic view of Israel, they give us all this intel. They're like incredibly. You make a better argument. The thing is that the Israelis don't have any sense of loyalty to the United States. The intel they pass to us is often shit. It's deceitful. It's manipulated to get us to do what they want. It's filled with falsehoods. And this is the stuff. I'm not saying just the Israelis do. This is not uniquely evil. This is how the intel world operates. We try and manipulate other countries by saying, "Oh, look what we have here." It's what the Steele dossier was about, right? That's part of that world is deliberate disinformation and lying. The Israelis care about Israel. They are not loyal to the United States, which is fine.
But we are America first.
We should be.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot more unnatural loyalty to Israel than certainly Israel has to us. And I think it's important not to overlook the reality that many of the most important people in the United States, the people who wield the greatest power, the people who have the most money, the people who are most indispensable to many power centers, are people who have at least as much loyalty to Israel as to the United States, if not more so. You can't ignore that as part of the relationship. There's a manipulated aspect to it.
Disagree. I don't disagree.
No, I know. I'm not. I'm just saying that has to be part of the formula.
But where I'm going with this is, so I'm sitting there and I'm watching all the criticism that Trump is getting, but I'm also watching what he's doing behind the scenes. I'm also seeing how he's trying to put Netanyahu in his place, and I also see that Netanyahu thinks he can do anything he wants to do with America. Probably he could have done with other presidents in the past, but he's having a hard time with this one guy that's coming in. And this one guy that's coming in is a little bit tougher candidate for him because he has a thing that none of the guys previous to him had. He is so unpredictable, and he can't control him.
Which is why I think above all else the establishment was so had such animosity toward Trump. Exactly what you just said. He's unpredictable.
And I love that.
And what the establishment wants is Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris, people who just are going to be very controlled. Let me quickly add, though, on the one hand, I understand what you're saying. And of course, there has been these stories leaked that, there's this tension between Netanyahu and Trump. But if you look at the actual behavior, Trump in 2024, he went and spoke before this organization when Miriam Edelson, who's his biggest donor,
100 million.
Elon
Dallas
Musk.
Maps, yep.
Yeah, and Trump said, not only we're going to make U.S. great again, and we're going to make Israel great again. That was part of his promise. He also talked about how in his first term, the people who visited him most were Sheldon and Miriam Edelson.
He said that in a speech at
before I think there was the Republican Jewish Coalition.
No, I think he said that in a different. I think he said it at UN. I don't know where it was, but it was. I remember the speech that he would call. He would come and say, "You realize I'm the president. I'm coming to the White House. What are you talking about?"
And then he would come.
Yeah, he would come.
And he would say, these are American citizens, right, scare quotes, and they would come in and they would only want stuff for Israel. That's what Trump said.
Yeah, you're right. That's the speech. You're right. That's, Yes.
And Trump said that they would come in and they would say, "I want this for Israel," and Trump would give it to them. And then like a week later, they'd call back and they're like, "Now I want this." And he'd be like, "Give me a couple weeks. I'll do more for Israel." But I just can't. But he talked about how much he served Israel throughout his. And I think one of the things that is important to remember is that when Trump was running in 2024, he needed to win to stay out of prison. Had Trump not won that 2024 election, he would be in prison for life. And he was willing to do whatever he had to, the way most people would. And one of the people he needed most was Miriam Edelson. And not
Very quickly, I just need a break from this combo real quick. Hold on. One of our favorite scenes that we watch all the time.
Careful who you insult, old king.
King.
Ragnar!
Achilles is not with the army.
Where is he?
I sent a boy to look for him.
Why am I playing this? Somebody tell me why I'm playing this. I'm only playing this because I realize, like, this is how, Agamemnon. So let me point out Agamemnon. So Agamemnon, he's the one that wants to conquer everything. He's the one that wants to expand his region, right? He's going off to all these different neighboring countries and he's trying to take over. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just laughing. But I'm laughing. Y'all may understand, maybe not. The only reason why Agamemnon feels that he can do these type of things in this region is because of Achilles. Achilles is America. Achilles is what gives Israel the audacity in a lot of ways to have this type of mindset of conquering in that region, to feel that they're entitled to this area. No, we need to expand to this area. The arrogance that Agamemnon has is based solely on Achilles. Now, Agamemnon has a huge army and all this other thing, so it's not a direct, perfect analogy, I would say. But what ends up happening in a lot of ways is Agamemnon starts to think he's bigger than Achilles. Now, he may be, but what ends up happening is, or I'm just, without actually going through the whole story, look, it's not a perfect analogy. I'm just drawing some similarities here, some connections. Agamemnon gets to the point where he thinks that he's bigger than Achilles, and he starts to violate Achilles. It's no different than Bibi Netanyahu. J.D. Vance goes over there as the vice president of the United States. Donald Trump says very clearly, the U.S. will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank. Now, keep in mind, Israel only exists because of American support. Us, you, our tax dollars, right? Our support. Israel still decided to vote to have, forget that they voted yes to annex the West Bank while J.D. Vance was there. Forget that. The fact that they even had the vote shows the audacity, shows the nerve, shows the disrespect that they feel that they can violate towards the United States of America. So I have to ask myself, are they just stupid? No, I don't think that they're stupid. I think they're very well aware that the people that Bibi Netanyahu answers to are bigger than the people that Donald Trump is answering to. And they're probably the people that Bibi Netanyahu is speaking to, and then the people that Donald Trump's speaking to, it's all funneled to the same person or the same group, right? This is my thoughts. Bibi Netanyahu's big homies are bigger than Donald Trump's big homies. That's what I'm feeling with all of this. That's what I'm feeling with all this. Now I'm like not even sure why I just decided to play that for y'all, but maybe I just wanted to see a little bit of Detroit. But let's continue with the convo.
He needed to win to stay out of prison. Had Trump not won that 2024 election, he would be in prison for life. And he was willing to do whatever he had to, the way most people would. And one of the people he needed most was Mary Middleton. And not just her, you know, Bill Ackman and lots of other big donors who care most about Israel. I do think Netanyahu understands, like the White House released that humiliating picture of Netanyahu holding the phone with his, like, while Trump was holding the phone, Netanyahu was on the phone with the Emir of Qatar, reading a script to an apology, right? Like a deliberate attempt to show what the dynamic in the relationship really is.
Do you think that was an act, or do you think he really had to call Qatar and say what he said?
When I see the United States or the Trump administration cutting off aid to Israel when they do things that we don't want, then I will. Yeah, I mean, look at that picture. I mean, look at that picture.
You think that's an act, though? Do you really think in that position who had leverage?
I think this is the thing. This is what I think has changed, is that I think Trump loves. I mean, if you think about Trump.
Yeah.
And what he loves most, even the aesthetic of like the Saudi, you know, this like flamboyant opulence, right? I think Trump loves Qatar, the Emirates, and Saudis genuinely, at least as much as he loves Israel. In fact, I think he's infinitely more comfortable in Dubai than he is in Jerusalem.
Is that a bad thing?
No, it's a good thing. Anything that places Israel more in its place, in its proper place, is a good thing to me. These are terrible countries. I mean, these are hardcore, you know, savage dictatorships. But I don't think the United States should go around the world trying to pick and choose. Hey everyone, I'm Glenn Greenwald, AMA.
Interesting how he finished it up with these are terrible countries. Whenever I hear that, well, as I get older, I look at it a bit differently. Ragnar, I'm with you. PBD do be on some BS. PBD consistently is on some BS where he's trying to play both sides and doesn't know whether. I think, you know what I think was happening with PBD? Because hold on, I want to respond to Ragnar's comment. You know what I think is happening with PBD? The same thing that happened with Charlie Kirk. He's seeing the tide turn. He's seeing his audience move in a different direction. He's seeing his audience more so be aligned with the Tucker Carlsons, the Nick Fuentes. That's why PBD brought Nick Fuentes on his platform. He said, oh, well, it's because he says the N-word. Well, he's still saying it, and you brought him on. So we know that was BS. You won't bring Nick Fuentes on, but you'll bring mob killers. Okay, cool. What's happening to Patrick Bet-David is what I believe is getting ready to happen to a whole lot of people. They're going to have to change their tune because the American people, especially the people that Nick Fuentes has an influence over and Charlie Kirk had an influence over, they are changing how they see the world. They are changing specifically how they see the dynamics of the relationships between the United States and Israel. It's changing. People are waking up. They did the CNN poll, so it's not even just the young people. Older people are changing the way that they look at it as well. So what does Patrick Bet-David have to do? Oh, now he feels a little bit more comfortable, you know, saying something about Israel. They're the only child. He'll still only go so far. And this is everybody's criticism. This is like the safety net when it comes to how a lot of these people deal with Nick Fuentes. And I've realized that. This is the safety net. When all of these people, whether it's Dave Smith, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, people that I like, Marjorie Taylor Greene, regardless of who it is, they all feel the need because they're still a little bit nervous about the things that they can say when they mention Jewish people. So what they'll do is they'll say, well, ours is just about Israel. You know, we're just calling out Israel. Yes, but it's a cultural thing. Like we're not stupid. We can understand this. When you have a culture that says that you're the chosen people, and the only reason why you have this state is because you think that God promised you as the chosen people this land 3,000 years ago. So you think that you could just kick people up. So obviously there's a cultural aspect to it as well. So what a lot of these people do when it comes to Nick Fuentes is they'll say, well, you know, we just don't, you know, we still disagree on, you know, Nick Fuentes still thinks that it's an overall Jewish problem. But it's like, first off, if you listen to what Nick Fuentes has said, he said it on Tucker and he said it on Dave Smith, unless I'm just hearing it incorrectly. He's not blaming all Jewish people. But what he is identifying is that there's a cultural problem. A cultural problem. And matter of fact, I brought up Jason Whitlock yesterday, and now I'm having all these thoughts come to mind. The reason why he just came to mind is because I remember that I believe it was Nick Fuentes and Jason Whitlock that were having a debate on Jason Whitlock saying that it was a cultural problem that Black people have in our communities. It's a cultural problem. I would 100% agree, and I think most people would agree that, I mean, unless you just think Black people are just born you know, to like basketball and football, and that's just inherent, like a Josh Hammer comment? Or do you think it's, it's because all of the people that we look up to that get praise in our community, they're the athletes? Oh, it's because they're growing up in a neighborhood where the drug dealers are the ones that have money and the gangbangers are the ones that have a certain level of respect, and a lot of these kids are growing up without father figures. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's part of the culture. So why is it any different to now say that, okay, you could sit here and say, oh, it's just Israel, but we're lying to ourselves if we're being real, if we're not going to say that, hey, there's a certain level of entitlement within the Jewish culture that has gotten to the point where it's moved beyond just the radical few, but it's captured a large portion of the Jewish population, if we're just being honest. And it's not necessarily their fault. Like Patrick Bet-David was saying, when you have the only child syndrome, and you allow certain kids to get away with certain things and allow certain adults to get away with certain things, they become entitled. Why do you think I have such a problem with welfare programs? Because it creates a sense of entitlement where you actually believe that you're owed something without doing the necessary work, where you think that you can get away with something that somebody else can't get away with, where you think that you can violate one of your God's commandments just based on, well, it's us versus them. So I can make that decision to violate God's commandment if it's beneficial for me. That's perfectly, fine. Matter of fact, God would want that because we're the chosen people. So what a lot of these people try to do in separating themselves from Nick Fuentes because they're scared to go through what a Nick Fuentes is going through is they try to separate on that little piece, which we all know it's BS. They know exactly what Nick Fuentes is saying regarding that, but they all try to separate themselves from it. Anna Kasparian, she does the same thing. So, but this is why a lot of people appreciate Nick Fuentes. Because he's willing to say what he actually believes without sugarcoating certain things, whether you disagree with it or not. And let's be real. Hold on. Let's actually be honest about all this. If Nick Fuentes actually feels like Jewish people are entitled, hold on. If he actually does feel that, so what? So what? Debate him. Oh, is it a crime? Am I saying something anti-Semitic if I think that this culture believes that this group of people are entitled? Is it? So what? That you should cancel somebody because of that? I just told y'all that I can't stand the welfare programs. I can't stand DEI because it's created a sense of entitlement in the Black community. I don't like it. I'm calling it out in the Black community. Should I be canceled? it's just, it's whack. It's corny. It's corny. It's corny, and it's cornier for a lot of these people to always try to walk on eggshells when it comes to the conversations with Nick Fuentes. But people are waking up. So you can try to censor people, you can try to silence people as much as you want, but when people are speaking real and genuine in a way that others are not, largely this is why Donald Trump is so popular. When people are speaking their truth, and the reason why I say their truth, you may disagree with it. So what? But you have a certain level of respect when you understand that somebody's being genuine, and them being genuine can come at a cost of maybe what Nick Fuentes is going through. That's what people respect. You're telling me that he's just lying about what he's saying when he could just, let's say that Nick Fuentes didn't believe that. Why would he allow himself to go through all this? He doesn't come from a rich family. Why would he allow himself to face all the kid's been tormented? He was telling some of his stories when he was at college. You know, I read between the lines and stuff. I could see him getting a lot of threats, and he said this while he was in college. The man can't, he was on the no-fly list, can't open up a bank account, can't open up a PayPal, can't do anything. You think that somebody would lie for no reason just to do this so he can have his show in his parents' basement? He's got somebody pulling up to his house with a gun, ringing his doorbell while he's doing a live show, try to kill him. And I believe this guy was killed at in front of his house by the police. Was it? Oh, somebody correct me on that. Was the guy ultimately killed at Nick's house? I know Nick has shared that story from time to time. But do you think that Nick Fuentes would go through all this if he didn't actually believe what he was saying? See, I don't like phony people. I don't like people that are trying to play me. I don't like people that are trying to indoctrinate me for their own self-interest. I don't like people that are trying to tell me that all Europeans are inherently racist again or anti-Semitic, whatever Josh Hammer said. I don't like y'all talking about my American brothers and sisters like that. You feel me? I don't like that. I take offense to it. And what's so funny is, can you imagine what's so funny? He wrote this about America, Europeans. The Europeans are the reason why Israel exists. Now, what's funny is if we actually get into the story about why a lot of Europeans, why some of these leadership in these areas where Jewish people were kicked out, there is some truth to that. As far as Jewish people getting kicked out of a lot of these countries and people wanting to create an Israel for them because it's like, yo, they need something of their own. Like, I don't want them here. There is some truth to that. I will say that. But that's a different conversation to have. That is a different conversation to have, which we can have on another day. But when it comes to overall, the things that Nick Fuentes is saying, the things that people who are courageous enough to simply point out what's right in front of their face, people are moving in that direction. People are moving in that direction. When I talk to the baby boomers, even they're starting to appreciate Nick Fuentes. You want to know why the baby boomers and why Tucker Carlson, a lot of his followers that may be a little bit older than Nick Fuentes' followers are starting to appreciate Nick? It's because, like it or not, the baby boomer generation, they know that for their entire lives, they had to walk around and be a little bit careful about what they say about Jewish people. The entitlement where Jewish people feel that they may be able to say certain things or do certain things or move in a particular way that we wouldn't be able to move in. And what's so funny about this particular situation I was getting ready to say earlier is, even if a black person said, like, here we had slavery in America, right? Imagine me saying, yo, I think all Europeans are inherently racist against black people. I feel like I'd have more of a, like, you know what I'm saying? Like imagine if a black person said that. We look at it like, what are you talking, you know? Even when we talk about white privilege, it's never on the same level of inherently anti-Semitic against, you get what I'm saying? it's just, we disregard that. America overall will call BS on that. Even though a little bit of it maybe, America will call BS on that, right? And obviously, I'm joking around a little bit. I think it's more cultural. When it comes to those aspects, I think it is more nurture versus nature. But America overall, this is what I want to focus on. Don't lose focus, Dak. America will call BS on that, but then can't call a spade when it comes to what's happening with America being bullied by Israel. So I was getting ready to say it, Dr. King. So it is what it is. That's going to be my new, I don't know. It is what it is. Oh, man. Great combo with y'all. I think we're going to wrap it up here. Y'all know I've been trying to make it a little bit earlier and earlier. So we're getting to that. So hopefully y'all enjoyed the conversation. We're now going to move into the most important part of this show, which is where we get to meditate, manifest, get our breath working, and release a lot of the negative energy, unleash the positive. We got to release the negative so we can unleash us being the best version of ourselves. Excuse me. So we're going to do our box breathing techniques. Shout out to Big Bro Steve. We're going to do our box breathing, which is it's a 4-second inhale, then a 4-second pause, a 4-second exhale, and then a 4-second pause. On every inhale, we love for you to focus and don't leave. Don't think that the show's over. Don't leave because y'all need it. When we talk about these topics in particular, we need it because we still are giving grace. And I want to be very clear. And sometimes I forget to say this at the end of these conversations where it can feel like we're picking on Israel, or maybe people are listening may feel that we're picking on Jewish people, that I'm picking on Jewish people. Let me be very clear. Y'all are my brothers and sisters. I'm talking specifically to Jewish people. I'm talking to Zionists. I'm talking to pro-Israel, Israelis. I'm talking, y'all are my brothers and sisters. And this is what brothers and sisters should do. If you see your brother or your sister bugging, you say, yo, you're bugging. You're bugging. This ain't it. Hey, based on the principles, values, morals that we're supposed to live by, this ain't it. This is what we're supposed to be able to say. But I want to be very clear. That my goal specifically is for humanity, for us to live peacefully, humanity, to achieve this greater peace. I want us all living in harmony. All right. And to do so, sometimes you got to call out your people for doing BS. So, take it however you take it, but hopefully, just like a lot of the other constructive criticism that we give on this show, or that people give in America to this group, to that group, to this person, to that person, if you take the constructive criticism, a lot of times it can make you become a better person. It can put you in a better spot, especially when the behaviors that you're exhibiting are directly contradicting the life that you're supposed to live based on your religious principles. So that's why we need to take some deep breaths. So on that note, every inhale, we're inhaling positive energy. Every exhale, we're getting rid of the negative, getting rid of some of the hate. Getting rid of that hate. This is not about hate. Even when we call certain people out, it's not about hate. It's about correcting a problem. We're all on the same team, whether we like it or not. We're on this world, which, as technology advances, we realize how small this globe is, this planet is. We're in here together. There's a reason why we're in here together. This is all a test for humanity. So let's make sure that 100 years, 1,000 years from now, when we're looking back, that they look at that those 2000s, those late 90s, 2000s that we performed and left the world a better place than we inherited. So, or not, I can't even say late 90s. Let's just say the 1900s. I'm saying 90s, the 1900s and 2000s. So this is what we're going to be known for. This is what we're going to leave our legacy on. So back to the breath work. Let's start with our 4-second inhale. Ready? Begin. Close your eyes if you're in a safe place. That's what I recommend. Ready? Begin. Hold. Release. Hold. Inhale. Pause. Pause. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Last inhale, last series. Ready? Begin. Inhaling all that positive energy. 4 seconds. Hold it. Let that positive energy compound. And we're getting ready to release all the rest of that negative limiting energy now. Hold. All right. I almost released too much air. Sheesh. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what we come here to do. Shout out to Robert holding us down as always. Hold on, let me highlight that. Robert wrote, make sure to turn on notifications. The algorithm doesn't like these discussions. Don't let Google control what you see. Oh man, appreciate you, big bro. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. And like I said, that's becoming one of our slogans. Don't let Google control what you see, man. Don't let Google control what you see. You control your notifications. You control your algorithm, all right? The algorithm is pointing you in a direction, trying to get a feel, trying to get you to feed into your vices because that's the easiest way for them to get your attention. But no, we're not going that way. We are controlling our own algorithm. And that's going to set us on a proper trajectory to maximize our potential because y'all know what we come here to do. Elevate on purpose, challenging ourselves to, my dad just gave me, my dad texted me. All right, my dad texted me. He said, good finish with clarification. Shout out to my pops. Where was I at? Yeah, y'all, we got to challenge ourselves to raise our standards to become the best leaders that we can become. Challenge ourselves to become the best followers we can become in a lot of ways, but leading in our positions, leading in our roles. You know, sometimes we need to become better at following certain things, following maybe certain people that may be more advanced in a particular area than ourselves, but leading within our role, right? You can be following something. We're all walking towards something. We're all guided by something, but us making sure that we're maximizing our role within whatever position that is, I still see that as a leadership role. Maybe I'm crazy for seeing it like that, but that's just how I choose to see it. Also elevating our standards to become and to grow into, I should say, the people that we need to grow into overall, to have the confidence, tools, and skills to set sight on these audacious goals like achieving the greater peace and having humanity live in harmony and peace. Obviously, those can be some goals that people think are outlandish, but if we continue to grow, if we continue to be the change, like we always say, that we want to see in the rest of the world, then I think we all will embrace it as an attainable goal, no matter how big it is. Strength and honor, onward and upward. Y'all know what it is when I say get to that bag. For those that don't, it's not just about money. It may not be at all about money, but it's all the things that we focus on, that serve as the guardrails, that serve as a compass, making sure that we're on the proper trajectory as we're living in our purpose, striving for that purposeful abundance. All right. It's all the little things, the quote unquote little things that are going to eventually become the bigger things. Let me turn this on silent. That are eventually going to become the bigger things and going to factor into what our overall impact on this world is going to be, that we like to call our personal legend. So you got to determine what's in your bag, all the little things, the KPIs, all these little things that you're focusing on. The things that I like to focus on: peace, love, happiness, health, wealth, and in everything we do, integrity. And of course, we have to focus on the balance. Now, balance is going to be different for everybody at different stages, all right? Balance is going to be different for everybody, all right? Sometimes balance is you completely cutting something off to lock in on something. Sometimes the balance comes with a certain amount of privilege from working hard, where you need to balance it out with a little bit of enjoyment. You know, it could be whatever it is that you find enjoyable. It could be taking a bit of a break, and always making sure that we are giving as many hugs to our family as possible, especially our parents. So on that note, I'll let my big homies take y'all out. Unc said, I've been called Master Sergeant on the battlefield. Yo, Unc is crazy. You're gonna have me read this, Unc? I've been called Master Sergeant on the battlefield, Mayor of the bedroom, Master Dishwasher, but in each of us, we also know that we have love. Unc is crazy. And Bocane, is it Buchanan? I think it's Buchanan. My fault. I'm pronouncing it wrong. Use Yandex instead of Google to find real answers to your question. That's dope. Maybe that's the reason why Google hit a 52-week low yesterday on the stocks. So Yandex it is. And shout out to my big bro Steve, man. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Caldwell. All right, so here's Unc's real. Well, in addition to what he said, and I don't want to take away from what Unc said. If you're the mayor, you're the mayor. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. I'm always know in life that everyone gets used. It depends on the user and the use, as of to who is benefiting and how much compensation is being generated from that usury. Definitely got to pay attention to that. Steve wrote, we are only as strong as we are united. As weak as we are divided, we are all one. Let's open our hearts and minds to include others and promote the unity we need so desperately. Once again, we are only as strong as we are as united. We are only as strong as we are united. As weak as we are divided, we are all one. Let's open our hearts and minds to include others and promote the unity we need so desperately. Paul wrote the Caldwell's rule, man. Y'all showing love. And I appreciate that, because my parents are definitely watching. They watch every single show. So, yeah, they keep me in line. They got to make sure, like, hey, we all got guard. We all answer to somebody. So when my dad's texting me during the show, time out. All right, we're good. I can continue. All right, Queen sent the fire emojis. Y'all know what it is, man. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. We're going to keep this going. This is something that I get so excited about. I swear. I get so excited about. And I appreciate all y'all. So let's continue to build. Let's continue to challenge each other and challenge ourselves to become the best versions of ourselves. And on that note, I shall see y'all mañana. All right? See y'all tomorrow. Have a good one.